Well, when I thought about creating this project, I used my middle name, which is Lapsley, and I wanted to have something that was slightly different. It's kind of like an alter ego. And the name's Scottish, and I kind of thought, you know, blonde hair, I probably come from Scandinavia somewhere, so yeah, I added it. And also, when you look at a list of words on a piece of paper, if a word has an accent, you're instantly drawn to it, so yeah. So I feel like I should be like, oh, I was born in Norway and my parents are from here.
Hello, it's me again, Paul here. So I'm back to do another recent vinyl spins after being gone for a couple weeks now, a little over a couple weeks. The first thing that I'm going to show I am kind of behind on, and there are 3 other people that have beaten me to doing a review of this album, and they've done a wonderful job at doing their different reviews and different takes on the album. So, Deshana, number 1, she did a wonderful review and she actually showed the contents. Vinyl Rewind, number 2, same thing, shows the contents, does the cocktail mix, and then, you know, does the unboxing, and then the Q Up, who also showed this, and, you know, cut himself in the process. So, all 3 videos are just fantastic to watch. The Vinyl Rewind was actually the guy that really got me into doing Vinyl Me Please, and so without any further introduction, the album is Lapsley. So when Vinyl Me Please announced this, I knew nothing about this particular artist, and before I came here I did a little research, and I saw it was coming out on XL Recordings. And when I saw XL Recordings, it just made me raise my eyebrow, because you know who else is on XL? This person. So I have mixed emotions about this person here. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the music is good. I don't have any of her stuff in my personal collection. But she, I think, is getting trapped by the music industry, because if you look at her previous 2 hit albums, I think she became a product of the Hit Factory. So, you know, her latest album, 25, you know, she probably had half, if not less, of the input. And, you know, if you look at the credits, I mean, she is not the sole songwriter. She did not really play most of the instruments, unlike the first couple albums in her career. So again, if you like her, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, sometimes it's good to have a hit, but I was a little bit concerned that I was getting something of a similar vein, but doing the research on Lapsley, no. So, you know, all the songs that were put out here were written by her, and she recorded in her own home studio. And so, you know, she did have other instrumentalists, and I'm sure other people were brought in to do some touch-up. But like Adele, I think, you know, she beats the pop market stereotype. And, you know, you just look at her and she looks like just your average person from the UK. But she's very talented. And her vocal style, I mean, she has a deep voice. And this is electronic, it's slow, very thought-provoking for her age, and she's only 19. And I found it kind of amusing, because she took the Swedish O here and put it in her name, but she's from Scotland or the UK, I can't remember, somewhere. Yeah, Scotland is the UK. But yeah, anyway, it came with a nice inner. It's pressed on white vinyl. So I'm not a big fan of white vinyl, because personally it's hard to tell if it's dirty or not. But what I did like about this, and what XL has done, is they've gone to Sterling Labs to do the mastering. And, you know, Ryan Smith did the mastering for this guy. And for you people that don't know Ryan Smith, Michael Frimmer of the Analog Planet and Stereophile managed to land an interview with the guy. And this interview is just fantastic, and I recommend anyone watch it because the guy is just phenomenal when it comes to mastering. And to me, mastering is one of the key stages of anything. I mean, this is where some things can get really, really screwed up. So it's just fascinating to hear this guy talk. I have some audiophile albums that have been mastered by this guy. Michael Fremer references Belafonte at Carnegie Hall. I have his cut, and yeah, it is just outstanding. It is very three-dimensional in quality, and it's hard to believe because the tape is over 50 years old. But to get back to Lapsley, I really did enjoy this album completely. Some good cuts here are Hurt Me and Love Is Blind. I definitely recommend giving that a sample. It did come with a very nice poster. And of course, like all Vinyl Me Please issues, you get the nice artwork. And the artist, talked about Lapsley being the inspiration for this particular picture. You get the cocktail of the month. Just to give you a shot of that. And it came with a digital download, so really a nice package by Vinyl Me Please. Overall, the service, at least in terms of this year, I've liked what has come out. The previous year, the mix, the releases were 50-50 on me, so I'll probably keep it up for another 6 months before I make the decision, do I cut bait or just continue with it. But moving on, I'm going to move on to a little bit of jazz. So I've been waiting desperately for Music Matters to announce some new releases, but alas, there's been nothing. And so I've taken the opportunity to fill some of the holes in my collection. And if you're slow to picking up Music Matters releases, you may want to jump on it now, because some of the 33 RPM ones are just starting to disappear completely, and a lot of places have them marked up. But I also noticed that they are marking up some of their prices, and so this is one that I wanted to jump on immediately. So this is Night Dreamer by Wayne Shorter. This was his first solo album for Blue Note. So Wayne Shorter had, at the time, 2 solo releases on VJ. And this came out right after he broke up with Art Blakey. And I wouldn't say broke up completely, because Art Blakey, his philosophy was, okay, you've done your job. You're good enough to be your own leader, and the Jazz Messengers were just a rotating lineup, and so a lot of people just consider the Jazz Messengers a university for jazz and developing jazz leaders on their own. And Wayne Shorter at the time was poached by Miles Davis and became a part of Miles Davis's second classic quintet. So at the time he did this, Miles was picking him up. But if you look at it, here you got another Jazz Messengers member, Lee Morgan, on this, and this is just another driver for me to pick this up, because Lee Morgan is by far my favorite trumpeter. But look at who else is on the album. You got Reginald Workman and Elvin Jones, the guys that were a part of Coltrane's classic quartet. And so what's interesting is in 1960, when Coltrane left Miles Davis, Coltrane actually recommended he pick up Wayne Shorter. But Wayne Shorter was, doing his thing with Art Blakey, and 4 years later he finally landed Wayne. But Miles Davis went through 3 or 4 different tenor saxophonists before finally landing Wayne. And again, the Music Matters releases are just fantastic, because you get the gatefold with the wonderful photos, and I just love this one of Wayne Shorter. And you got the rest of the band. So you got Lee Morgan here, you got Reginald Workman and McCoy Tyner. So just a fantastic package. I do not think that this album is as good as Juju or well, the other album is right here. So yeah, it's not as good as those two. But this is a solid album. If you look at the Penguins Guide to Jazz, they give it a high ranking. They don't give it a crown. And a lot of the other music sites, like AllMusic, give it 4 out of 5 stars. I definitely think it was a solid listen. I am happy to have it in my collection, and you know, until Music Matters announces new releases, I'm just gonna continue to plug some of the holes in my collection. And you know, this is far cheaper than getting the original. In a lot of cases, you know, people say they sound better than the original, so definitely go for it. Just to show you the labels. So, you know, the 45, you know, they do their best to replicate the original label. Of course, this was on New York, and spread over 2 sides. I mean, 45 is gonna, in theory, sound better than the 33 RPM, but the Music Matters releases, for at least my setup, I'm hard pressed to hear a difference. But again, Night Dreamer. Next one, I got to give a shout out to my local record store because they gave me this one for free. I bought a stack of records from them, and they're always so cool. But you know, I go in and I've been having some pretty good luck, so I'll walk in at the right moment. And this guy I've been bidding on in auctions, and I haven't won one. And I just happened to see this guy sitting there on the ground, and this one was, they gave it to me for free. So what can I say? So thank you, Nigel. This is Doing the Thing by the Horace Silver Quintet. The classic Horace Silver Quintet that was with him for 4 years or longer. So, you know, you got Blue Mitchell, Junior Cook, I gotta look here, Gene Taylor and Roy Brooks. Those guys were with Horace Silver for, you know, a good period of the early 60s. So this is part of the 4000 series. This was the 76th release. Just to show you what the record looks like. So it was not in the best condition, but this is probably a second press. So a lot of the information is fairly accurate on this. So it's on the New York label, and the original press had a deep groove, so I cut into it like this. And it had the different address. I think it was West 63rd up here. So, Doing the Thing at the Village Gate. So the Village Gate was a popular club in Greenwich Village, and you know, this was one of the first live recordings from there, and there were all kinds of jazz artists that did record there. So it had basically 2 stories, so they were doing concerts up on top, so that, you know, you'll see a lot of albums at the top of the Village Gate. So it was the 2nd floor, and then you just had the Village Gate, and that was down at the bottom floor, at least what I understand. And you know, this contains one of the coolest tracks ever, Filthy McNasty. And Horace Silver is just a phenom when it comes to interacting with the audience and introing his tracks. So Horace Silver is an interesting guy because he did compose most of the music for his albums. Unlike Art Blakey, which was pretty reliant on a lot of other people to write his music, Horace Silver, who took some of the same philosophy with the Jazz Messengers, developing people, he continued to write most of his music, and what you'll notice here is you see the Isaro music. So I read Horace Silver's biography, wonderful biography, but it's not told in a linear fashion. It bounces from here to there. But this is basically Horace spelled backwards. And he did that because he wanted the publishing rights to his music, so he could retain them. But again, thank you, Nigel. This was wonderful. I had been bidding on this through eBay, and folks pay out the nose for an original. And I mean, I would definitely rate this as a VG record, and but even for VG, I'll take it for free. So thank you very much. So moving on, different genre now. Cover's disturbing on this one, but I love the artist, and this is Mr. Oizo. And Mr. Oizo is a French DJ. He's very interesting because, like a lot of his music videos, he has a puppet. This is on the Ed Banger label, and I love Ed Banger. And a lot of the musicians and the acts coming on Ed Banger are very similar. So, if you like the stuff done by Ed Banger, like Justice or Sebastian or Mr. Flash, just to name a few, then this will probably be right up your alley. The thing about Ed Banger's musicians is, they have a juvenile sense of humor. So, if you look at some of the track titles, you can tell, but I do enjoy the music. The reason why I got this comp was he did a single with Charlie XCX and Hand in the Fire, and I've had some of his stuff on CD for the longest time, so I just decided to pick this comp up on vinyl. Yeah, a little bit of a disturbing gatefold. The Ed Banger stuff is mastered and pressed at MPO, but this is definitely good. And just to kind of give you a sample of what it's like. So the last thing that I have to show you guys tonight is a album by Baron Von Luxury. And Baron Von Luxury, again, he's another electronic musician, also a sampler. And I gotta credit Vinyl Rewind to introducing me to this guy. So he did a video where he reviewed one of ELO's albums from the 80s, and he brought in Baron Von Luxury to talk about the album and what it meant to him. And I was very curious about him, and so I just happened to check out his stuff online, and he just happened to have this album here. And it's really good. It's disco-y, it's like electronic. I just happened to get the pink label version. And now this is why I recommend this guy so much. Outside of having the very interesting cover here. Now he does remixes. And if you check him out on SoundCloud, this one came with a poster. If you check him out on SoundCloud, he has remixes of some classic rock tracks that you can get for free. And yeah. So he has remixed classic cuts by Kiss, Blondie, Led Zeppelin, Simon and Garfunkel, the Bee Gees, Garbage. It's just a gamut of artists, and he grabs their classic tracks and he remixes them, makes them a little bit dancey. And you can get them all for free, which is really cool. So I'll try and include a link down below so you can sample some of his work. But it's cool that it's free. You can grab it. I recommend, hey, you got a party going on, just put it in the background and raise a few eyebrows, get a few head nods, and it's just fun to listen to. So that's what I've been spending this week. If you got a comment, please shoot me one down below. And once again, thanks for watching.
Woo!